So Ethan, as the listeners may or may not know, you as a young man who's not that into football, made the
Mhm.
hilarious decision of being a fan of both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. Uh,
You don't need to tell people that.
uh,
Um,
so what's it like having picked the most, having made the most cynical pick
can
possible of two
can
teams,
I
and neither of them is in the playoffs?
let me defend myself briefly? First off, I'm from Central PA, so I think like me liking the Steelers is not ridiculous. I think like my fourth grade teacher liked them, and so I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's going to be my identity now.
If you had just done that, I would have no problem.
And then a little thing happened that I like to call 9/11.
What?
And if you remember, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl after 9/11. Like Bono, his halftime show had like the American
The
flag in his
names,
jacket.
all the
And, like,
names of the people. Yeah.
I think you were literally legally required to root for the Patriots in that Super Bowl because you're like, yes, let's have war anywhere, any place, no conventions, just do whatever you got to do. And so
You
I was
sicken
like,
me.
yeah, Patriots, sure. That seems
You
like
sicken me.
America. If they win, that means America wins. And so, as a like eighth grader, I was like, that seems like the right call.
Yeah, see, the difference between you and me is that like 9/11 happened, and then I was like, when is Afghanistan getting an expansion team? So I finally have someone to root for because I fucking hate America.
Yeah, but
But
I
anyway,
think
who are you rooting for this year, since neither of your two historically great teams that you bandwagoned onto as a kid made it?
I don't think I bandwagoned onto the Steelers.
Yeah, they weren't
Definitely,
very good when you picked them.
definitely the Patriots, but again, the Patriots from a jingoistic standpoint, not from a they had been winning all the Super Bowls at that point. Like that was that was Tom Brady's like big game. Um it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2001 Super Bowl, famously remembered as Tom Brady's only big game. Just like,
Yeah.
definitely wasn't about to do that many more times.
Oh, but
It was his coming out party, right?
yeah. There's nothing like your first time, and he like that was magical. And so I think this year though, a little podcast trivia. I got you for your birthday tickets to see the Steelers Eagles game.
Yes. Yeah, we
in
were
Philly.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
And
I think
yeah.
I think the Eagles went to 7-0 after that game.
Yeah, it was a great game. And like I had some animosity about the Eagles in like 2005 when I was still on the Steelers train of like, I don't want to deal with this right now. But I think like first off, there was a score of years after that I was like, it's just sad at this point. I want them to win a Super Bowl because like, I want that for my friends. And I'm just like, as a decent human being, I think the Philly sports franchise deserves a win. And then when they won the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, that's good. Like they beat the Patriots
In the best Super Bowl of all time.
It was such a good Super Bowl. And I think at that point I'm like, oh, that's nice. I feel good for him. So like I wouldn't really call myself a fan of any team at this point. I don't really watch I lived in Mississippi for 10 years. We don't have an NFL team, so I became much more of like a college sports fan. Their bodies haven't totally been destroyed at that point, so I think it's just much more.
They're also not being paid, so it's like more pure,
Exactly. Yeah. They're not. Yeah. The money isn't like part of that system, so I think that's something that's really special about college sports. Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta go because I actually run a like a side hustle where I sell yachts, and Nick Saban just ordered 5 of them, so I gotta get out of here. But love you, buddy. Have a great episode. You're tall, but I'm standing in front of you.
It's a podcast.
Welcome to You're Tall, but I'm Standing in Front of You, the podcast where two friends circling the drain of academia, and I do mean circling, discuss the cultural detritus of the 20th century. I'm Devin.
I'm Ethan.
We got a great show today discussing, a film that brings together some of the key architects of 20th century detritus, some like first ballot Hall of Famers. Tony Scott, the man who answers the question, what if Ridley Scott sucked ass? Shane Black, the guy who basically invents the buddy cop. He invents the subversion of buddy cop tropes before they've even been established, right?
Incredible.
Bruce Willis. What do you even need to say? And of course
also
David
Wayans.
Who actually I have nothing bad to say about. He's quite funny.
Fine, yeah.
I think Blank Man is actually an underrated movie. Maybe we should do that at some point. Before we get into it, though, and when we're talking about The Last Boy Scout here, folks.
Great lead-in.
But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention a little of what you heard right before we started talking. Not our usual intro music this week. This is because I, in my alias of Stale Cooper, am releasing, and it should be out either the same day as this episode drops, or maybe right before this kind of it's basically just one really long song. It was originally made to be half of a cassette tape, of a split cassette for a record label that asked me to do this during COVID, and then the record label released one cassette 3 years ago, and every time I've emailed them, just keep saying we're so sorry. So I just decided to release it myself. It's called Motherfuckers Line the Streets Play Wonderwall.
Flawless.
Yeah, it has noise elements. It has kind of more kind of traditional rock elements. It's basically one 13-minute piece. And it'll be out on stalecooper.bandcamp.com. We'll play another excerpt of it at the end. But if you are at all interested in, if you enjoy any of the sort of intro, outro, interstitial music that we do for this podcast, which is usually either done by me or Ethan, you can basically tell if there's any keyboard playing that is at all skilled, Ethan made it.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, goddamn. But if you've enjoyed any of that, or if you like kind of noise music, if you like just kind of alternative experimental stuff, check it out. It'll be free to stream. I think I'm gonna charge $5 to download it, simply because I am trying to pay for the artwork that I commissioned. But you are welcome to stream it for free as many times as you like. But I would certainly appreciate the downloads, especially if you've also been enjoying the pod. Underwear dropped us after the Citizen Kane episode, so it's
been a rough road. Well, I think it's dope, so I think that people should pay for it. And if you want to send me your copy once you pay for it and download it, we can pop it on the torrent sites and get that rolling.
I would love that. If only I'm pretty sure if you tried to upload my shit to the torrent sites, they would be this is not significant. Get this out there.
It rejects it. Yeah, no, but it's great. Yeah.
Maybe we could create an artificial beef where like you upload my shit to the torrent sites and then I sue you for doing that. And like we try to get some mutual and then it's like podcast torn apart over like,
Yeah, get
torrent
some hype.
leaks. Yeah, we could try to pull that off.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I keep trying to just like angrily tweet at Ben what's his name? Shapiro. I almost said Ben Peterson. I almost combined them.
We're almost there.
My dog has started humping me. He only humps me when we podcast. There's something about he recognizes the podcast tones and he's just like it gets him all like jerked up. But anyway, the last Boy Scout, Ethan.
Sorry, are you calling me the last Boy Scout? What was that?
I mean, were you?
Say my 2 cents.
Just a little sidebar. Were you a Boy Scout? Were you involved in Boy Scouts at all?
I was. I was never an Eagle Scout, but I was a Boy Scout. It was not a good organization. It was not good. I mean, I'll say so. I enjoyed the camping and that sort of stuff. But it was like a very toxic environment. The head scout, the scout leader was a super cool guy. He was like a Vietnam vet that just knew his shit. But like the second in command was like a very not good guy who should not have been like interacting with kids. It was not good for that role. Was like a very large dude that didn't seem very interested in Boy Scouts at all. So I wasn't really sure why he was ever there beyond to like harass and at times physically assault middle schoolers and high schoolers. Yeah. Mixed reaction to my Boy Scout experience. Shout out Troop 51.
Yeah. I was never a Boy Scout. I did go to a couple Cub Scout meetings, but I never got to do any of the fun shit because there was always extra fees, and my parents were like, "We can't afford this." So I went to like 3 meetings. I did win a Cub Scouts Halloween costume contest because I got a bloody nose at the party and I bled all over myself, and they were like, "That's very realistic blood." But the good news, Ethan, is that you don't need to know anything about the Boy Scouts to enjoy The Last Boy Scout. Because I know what you're thinking. Isn't this a movie about a large national organization that systemically takes advantage of and exploits the bodies of young male Americans for profit and gain, and does not care what happens to them or any of like the abuse or injury or psychosexual trauma they experience is. And you're like, oh, that's a movie about the Boy Scouts. But no, baby, we're talking.
I always, I always hoped that I would have been the last Boy Scout because it's an atrocious organization. And so I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is all about. Yeah.
We're not talking about the Boy Scouts, Ethan. We're talking about the National Football League. And that's where you need to like kind of bleep where I said National Football League. And I'll say, I'm sorry, I mean an unnamed large football organization, or perhaps it is named. I don't remember. Nobody cares.
It could be the XFL. You don't know.
Yeah. Some kind of we didn't get the rights from the NFL, in which there is a team called the LA Stallions, and then also Cleveland has a team. And that's about what we know about it. But we open, right, with this football game, this televised football game, and it's Friday night football, right? Because we're trying not to get sued by the NFL, but also this fictional NFL is really struggling financially. Apparently, we get like some information from some like reporters and some different kind of like montage scenes that like ratings are down. There are no heroes left in the game, apparently,
Yeah.
which keeps being said. And, obviously some racial subtext to that.
By the way, it seems like you've glossed over the very beginning, which is the song by like essentially a Hank
I was
Williams
about
Jr.
to, I was about
character.
to get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, But I think the big reason this NFL is losing so much money is that they air their games on Friday. All right. Why are people not staying at home on Friday night to watch these terrible games that are very poorly lit also? It's like
it's very poorly. Yeah.
It's pitch black.
Yeah.
And on this rain-soaked field. But we get this.
I mean, and again, with classic LA rain, just a downpour. Actually, though, I guess never mind. They had the what's it called? Like the Sky River. What's it called? That's actually been quite devastating.
The atmospheric river or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Do not let any Victorianist literary critics know about this movie. They will write about how it's actually secretly about climate change and teaches us how to imagine other ways of being.
Yeah.
But we open with this entire like fictional version of the like Monday Night Football song by this Hank Williams Jr. analog. Real commitment to the bit here, right?
Yeah.
And then we get what I want to say is one of the great opening scenes in cinema history, where we've got this football game happening. It's pitch black. It's rain soaked, right?
Mm-hmm.
LA is down in the game. And we're seeing this one character, Billy Cole, quite a bit, right? He's seemingly like the star player, right? It was a little unclear to me if he was a wide receiver or running back. So they're down, it's halftime. And Billy gets this phone call from a man, I don't know if we know his name yet, but we will later learn is Milo, one of the central villains of the film, played by Taylor Negron, the great Taylor Negron, rest in peace. Basically just telling him in, veiled language, like, you better start scoring those touchdowns no matter what, or you're going to be killed because, like, we have money on this game. The classic strategy for how you win at gambling. You just threaten the lives of the players who otherwise don't try to win. The issue is motivation, right?
Yeah.
And so Cole, he does a bunch of PCP. He has a gun like stuffed in his his football pants. It's very unclear how this is like not falling out or turning into like a Plaxico Burress situation. He gets the ball on this I think like they get a turnover. It's like the last drive for the Stallions. They get the ball to Billy Cole. He's running like he's getting big yards. There's a defender in his way, and he pulls the gun out of his pants, shoots the defender through the head, shoots like two more guys.
Mm-hmm.
I guess technically scores a touchdown. They never really address in the film like if this touchdown counts or not.
I think they're gonna have to walk it back. I think they're gonna walk it back.
You think there was like a penalty?
There's gonna be a 10-minute delay, and then they'll walk it back. And
and then he shoots himself in the head in the end zone, right? And I just want to earmark this. We don't need to get into all this now, but this is obviously like an incredibly sensationalist opening. This movie is very sensationalist in general. It's very, I think the kids would say extra right? Like it's always going like so fucking hard, but this really is not that far off from a realistic depiction of the NFL, right? And what it
Yes.
does to players. And that's something we'll talk about more after we get through the plot.
Yeah. Well, you miss right before he shoots himself in the head, he says, "Ain't life a bitch?"
Yeah.
But you know the original line, what it was supposed to be, because I was looking up the scripts of the film, because the entire rest of the film is one-liners. You know what the original written line was in the film, which I know why they didn't use it. I mean, if you had to guess, what do you think his line would have been before this football player commits suicide on the field?
Touchdown, baby.
Think what is the most iconic like football line?
I don't know. Win one for the Gipper. What is an iconic? What is an
I'm
iconic
going to Disneyland.
Oh,
he was supposed to say which would have been a way better.
This is
yeah.
Oh yeah. That shows you how well they were worried about getting sued by Disneyland, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No, see, but that is such a good encapsulation of football. It's like, hey, you're gonna do this thing, you're gonna get a lot of money, you're going to completely destroy your body and your brain for this limited time, get a bunch of money that then you can't enjoy because you've destroyed yourself. Also, the labor conditions are actually really bad, especially compared to other professional sports. But then you get to go to the mythical Disneyland of your own death and release, off this mortal coil.
Yeah.
You get to live in live in a complete fantasy for like 3 seconds while like the spinal fluid drains out of your brain stem or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So that opening scene, that just that gives us a little world building that sets us up in this situation. And one of the important characters also we didn't mention that we meet during that scene, kind of a little indirectly, is the owner of the LA Stallions, whose name is
Rootin' Tootin' Sheldon. Oh, God damn it. Shelly Marcone.
Yeah.
He goes by Shelly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Most, I think, known by viewers for his stint on Walker, Texas Ranger. The actor playing him, Noble Willingham.
Can I say, Devin, you're doing a bang-up Wikipedia job on this episode. Flawless transitions between clicking on the actor's Wikipedia page, going back to the Last Boy Scout Wikipedia page. So I just want to commend you on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I did not need to click on Taylor Negron to know he was dead. Very sad. He was young. But anyway, then we cut to the world of private investigator Joe Hallenbeck, played by Bruce Willis, right? He's like sleeping in a car. He's drunk. Some kids are kind of fucking with him. They try to reach for his gun, and then he's like, "Oh, nope, I'm up," and he's got the gun and everything. This is showing us that this guy's like a fuck up, but at his core, it's like he's still like competent, right? He's the ultimate boomer.
Yeah. Yep.
Or the boomer. He's the boomer fantasy, which is, I know I look like absolute shit. I know I'm like a drunk.
Yeah, and again, boomer is more a state of mind. Like there are a lot of Gen Xers that I think would fit the same mold as him. But yes, he is but I don't think this country has recovered from the Last Boy Scout. Like this character, like this set the bar for how every boomer decided like they were going to orient their entire life and belief system and speaking style. And we haven't recovered. Yeah.
I mean, there is like a Gen X version of this character, but he just spends the entire film. It's otherwise identical, but he just spends the entire film trying to convince you to listen to like Jonathan Richman. But he's like, but not just the Modern Lovers stuff, dude. Like that's actually pretty overrated. Like, the solo work is interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, the deal with Joe Hallenbeck, right? So, we don't all get this all in order, but he's used to be a Secret Service agent, right? And he saved the president. right? Which a character later in the film at one point, like after he's found that out, like goes up to him and it's just like they've just like been treating him like shit, but like the one cop who I think later gets like blown away,
Yeah.
is just like, I would just like to shake your hand. I heard what you did for the president. I respect that.
Yes.
But he's kind of like disgraced because he like what? It's like a senator that he was guarding was like beating up like a sex worker, right?
That was the indication I got from the flashback scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
like
he stopped it. He like
he
burst
punches him in the face,
Mhm.
like so he's actually like he's disgraced, but because he did like a good thing that was like against like the system, right? And we find out that this senator, Senator Calvin Baynard, is he like called like Bruce Willis calls him a lot and leaves like lewd voicemails. You know, so like there's people have reason to think he has it in for this senator, right? So, you know, he's now like a PI. He was doing a skip trace. He shows up. Well, he gets a call from his friend Mike Matthews.
Man,
telling
the
him
fucking
about...
character names in this movie: Joe, Jimmy, Mike, Mick, Billy, Ben, Corey, Sarah,
Shelley, Milo.
Yeah.
The villains have like more interesting names.
Yeah. James Gandolfini.
Wait, James Gandolfini's in this?
You didn't know that? Did you not recognize him? He was one of
I did
the,
not
like,
recognize
henchmen.
him.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I'm seeing that in the credits now. I did not recognize him at the time.
He's very recognizable in this.
Who is Scrabble Man?
He
looking
was
at the credits now.
He had the big vocabulary. He like kept using big words when they were accosting Joe and Jimmy. And so he
of course,
calling,
yeah.
Oh, look at the vocabulary on this one. Like it was that.
Yeah.
See, Jake, here's a man who knows when a situation is untenable.
Good word.
You like that word? And you do have that envelope, don't you?
Better give up, Jimmy. We're dealing with a couple geniuses here.
All right, man, just leave him the fuck alone. Leave him alone, sure, whatever you say. Jake attacks his job with a certain exuberance.
Shit. We're being beat up by the inventor of Scrabble.
He's still in a good mood, Jake. Kick him again.
No, all right.
But anyway, so like Mike offers
if you
Joe
could just
this...
scroll up in the Wikipedia a bit more to the plot summary, let's get back on track here.
Mike offers Joe, listen, the Wikipedia plot summary is a memory guide. Mike offers Joe this like job protecting that like apparently like he doesn't need is like the story he's giving, like protecting a another sex worker, a stripper specifically, played by Halle Berry. And he's like, okay. And then shortly after this, he like walks into his house. He's home a little early. His wife's acting weird. And then like he deduces that someone, because he's a good detective, he deduces that a man is hiding in the closet that she's cheating on him with. And then he does a perfectly rational thing that just like, you know, boomer mentality, right?
Yeah.
Where he like is like, well, I'm not going to open the closet. I'm going to point a gun at the closet and wait for you to admit someone's in there. 1, 2, 3. She eventually does tell him to stop, at which point he like does like move the gun, but still fires it like within the house.
Yes.
And we're supposed to think this man is not like completely insane. Like,
this man has a daughter that is living in this house, and he's just firing a gun in his bedroom.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know exactly where the daughter is at that point either.
Oh, then never mind. No more critiques.
No, I mean that's oh,
never mind.
Okay.
He's totally justified. Yeah.
Because he doesn't know where she is, he's justified.
Yeah, so there's no danger. He's allowed to shoot the gun off in the house.
So he fires a gun in the house. Apparently that doesn't bother anybody. But people are going to be bothered soon because the closet does open. It's Mike.
Oh no.
What a twist. This character
Wow.
we only just met is already fucking Bruce Willis's wife like 2 minutes later of screen time.
He also like just talked to him on the phone and gave him the job that would be in LA. So like, would he not expect that he's coming back to LA, or perhaps was like en route to LA? It just seems like a bad personal decision to be like, all right, now that I've given this guy a job in LA, I'm gonna go fuck his wife at their house in LA. I don't know. Not good thinking. Doesn't matter though.
There's no way he'll get back early. He's driving. Like, it's like not like he has a plane ticket that he's locked into. Like,
but this again, imagine this is like the fever dream of a boomer who is about to expire, and like they're going through like delirious visions in their mind, and one of them is of course going to be them standing up to their fucking wife who's clearly cheating on him, and showing who's in charge by taking charge of the situation with a gun and, you know, laying down the law. And so I think if you understand literally every scene,
definitely,
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no, this entire world, like this movie is a dream. Like this movie, if you read it the right way, is more Lynchian than like David Lynch's weirdest movie, because like nothing that happens in this movie is real. Everything that happens in this movie is about what if the actual laws of physics, including just things like how bullets work and like, you know, like bombs and distances and speed and like air resistance and everything conformed to like, just like when your boomer dad, you show him like a fact and a piece of reality, the way he's able to just immediately be like, oh yeah, that's actually evidence of my like just standard Republican Party opinions.
It actually reinforces it in some convoluted way.
Like this is just the world that just completely conforms itself to the boomer psyche as it moves through it, right? And this is why Mike Matthews is magically teleported from his office to this closet. So like in what seems to be no time at all on the screen, he has gone from being in his office making a call to he's apparently already had sex with Bruce Willis's wife and now is redressed, but also hiding in the closet. And it all happens so that Bruce Willis gets to confront him. And then he does like the very like, because like Bruce Willis, like his whole thing in this movie is he's like, it's not just, he's like this, he's got like a code. You know, like he's an asshole, he's rough around the edges, he's not very refined, but he's got a code, he's got principles. And he's like, no, Mike, you're my friend. So you get a choice, you know, you get to choose head or gut. And like he says gut, and so he punches him in the gut, right? Like this is like, oh, it's like, yeah, I've got like a, you know, an honor system.
Oh, is that what happened?
I
thought that he said like what? And so he punched him in both the gut and the head. So maybe I
think Mike just maybe he might say what, but I think Mike says gut and then gets the gut punch.
Head or gut? Gut.
There's a moment later in the movie with one of, I can't even remember who, but one of the villains where it's like that gets rehearsed again.
It was the senator who was like, what
the senator gets both.
Head or gut? Excuse me?
Yeah, because he didn't answer.
Aggravated assault on a United States senator. Anyway,
no, that's the thing. If you don't like, because Mike gets it, because Mike is also like, he is a boomer everyman as well, right? So he's like, oh, of course, I'm being asked the boomer head or gut question, and I have my answer, and I take it like a man. Yeah. So they're okay, and they've resolved it, except for the fact that Mike then gets in a car and it explodes and he dies. And this is like, this movie just always goes so fucking hard. So that causes a problem, you know, the cops are called, etc. But he doesn't tell them about the fucking. Anyway, then like he gets over that pretty quick, I guess. He goes to the strip club to you know, kind of like do his bodyguard assignment of Corey, played by Halle Berry.
Prior to this, we are introduced to Damon Wayans' character, who was a former quarterback for the LA
Oh,
Stallions.
yes, I forgot about this.
There's like that
yeah.
poolside scene where there's another football player who is like assaulting a woman essentially in the pool and like drowning her because she won't give him head. And so he like throws a football at that dude's face and essentially breaks his nose to sort of show like, look, he's got the $1 million arm, and he also has a boomer code that he's living
exactly
by,
yeah no yeah we're establishing early that these are both guys who like they have flaws, right? Joe is a disgraced former Secret Service agent. Jimmy Dix is this disgraced quarterback who has been kicked out of the league for gambling. But they both like, you know, they are committing to a code, which in Bruce Willis's case involves shooting a gun in his house with his wife. And in Jimmy's is a little more honorable in that he's like stopping a sexual assault. Though I will say he waits his sweet ass time to do it. You know, he's like, wait, no, I'm going to let the assault continue long enough for this to be like poetic. But anyway, so we've been introduced to the two characters, and then they both end up in this strip club where, you know, and then Jimmy is like, you know, he's being kind of like jealous. He's like, why are you here? What's going on? I can protect her. I want to know what's going on. You know, Jimmy then like kind of like pulls Corey off the stage while she's dancing. I don't remember exactly what happens. Like a couple like hitmen show up, right?
Yeah, and like Joe and Jimmy have this like back and forth, and maybe we'll probably talk about it in a bit. But this movie consists almost entirely of one-liners and quips and like back and forth. Like I don't know if it's an attempt to be noir. I don't know what the whole deal is. Like right as the one I had written down is right as Joe is like walking away from his wife after the car blew up, and I guess they're just emotionally fine after this dude was murdered. The wife says,
"I'm not the one who hates you, Joe. You're the one who hates you."
And I get to live with myself 24 hours a day,
which is cool. And then
and we should remember too, like Bruce Willis, like, right, like we think of him now, we think of him mostly as like Die Hard and shit, right? But he kind of was like considered like a comedic actor earlier in his career. You know, and like, but a very unfunny version of a comedic actor. But he's kind of from that same generation as Tim Allen, of the like, you know, conservative white guy that's kind of doing like, you know, an early version of now just all comedy is, which is like conservative complaints about where culture's going. But, you know, it was kind of like this, like kind of like, oh yeah, like his movies, like he's just constantly making quips and stuff, and it's like, ah ha ha, like,
yeah. And this is old enough, like old school enough Bruce Willis, that the Mike character, like after their conversation, says that like you need to comb your hair to sharpen up. So like this is old school Bruce Willis. And so but then like he's going this back and forth with the Joe character, Damon Wayans character. He's going back and forth with the Jimmy character, the Damon Wayans character. What's the line? He says, because he's like, why are you talking to my woman? And the Halle Berry character, Corey. And it's because he was hired for it. And like, it's like, I don't know, man. He says, the Joe character's like, don't sweat it.
Water's wet, the sky's blue, women have secrets. Who gives a fuck? Want a beer?
It's again like the fever dream of a boomer. Like in no world, like if you said that line to someone you just met in any context, in any place, at any time in the real world, you're not gonna get the reaction that he gets in that moment. So it's ridiculous.
Well, and this is part of the fantasy too, right? Is like of the whole buddy cop genre too, but especially in this movie, is that it's like you think about the sort of like how much it sucks to be just like a shitty straight white guy, conservative asshole who doesn't know how to connect to other people and can only say like gruff, mean comments is the only way he knows how to communicate, right? But deep down, he wants human connection. This is also a fantasy about if you could form a friendship entirely out of one-liners, so you never have to actually like confide anything, and they do. There are some like more touching moments where they do confide stuff later in the film, like about like, Jimmy's drug addiction, which is not a moral failing, but is due to like, the injuries and the pain that he suffers from being in the NFL, or the fictional NFL, the FNF, the FFL. Stuff like that. I think Joe tells him about his, why he got kicked out of the Secret Service. But, essentially it's like, oh, yeah, like the only way men can communicate is by insulting each other. They can't just no one can ever just be like, oh, hey, yeah, your girlfriend's in danger and I was hired to help her. And don't worry, I'm not interested in her at all. I'm just trying to do my job and keep you both safe,
Yeah, which again, I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point, but it drives like this is a generation whose entire identity was built around like Ronald Reagan being like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Like these people, their entire identity is built around one-liners like that, those sorts of zingers. And so this film, like that is the glue that that fits it all together, and this film is a big bottle of Elmer's glue. So let's keep rolling with it.
So anyway, I'll try to go a little faster here because like there is I have to say it's like a pretty tightly plotted film in terms of like how the kind of conspiracy works and the order in which information is found, but I don't want to get too bogged down in the details of that.
Yeah, we'll skip past the part where Joe can't believe that Jimmy's pants cost $650, which again, it's like a Tim Allen bit.
Yeah,
like,
no, it really is.
It
exactly as a Tim Allen bit. Like he's like, they're pants.
Like, what do they do? They do anything?
$600. They're pants. You wear them? They don't have a TV in them or something, right? And obviously, like a lot of this is racialized as well, right? It's like the working class, salt of the earth white guy, the kind of like, more kind of big spending black guy celebrity. But it's also about ultimately like their kind of they can come together over a sort of benign hatred of women and their shared homophobia. So. So speaking of women, I know what you've been thinking. A lot of this film has had to do with women, what with the wife and shit. And now we're dealing with a girlfriend. Well, don't worry, she's killed.
Yeah.
Right away, Bruce Willis does a very bad job, essentially. Like there's a whole details about this, but she gets gunned down in the street.
I love when it happens. Jimmy is just, like he was at a red light, so he had to like catch it. I guess they were driving two different cars. And he pulls up after she's just been shot, immediately gets out of his car and goes, Corey! And then there's still like active gunmen there who then of course start like aim their guns at him and he just goes, Corey! Shit. And it was the funniest way that Damon Wayans could have said that line of shit. That I just burst out laughing because it's like he realized that he walked right in front of these people who had literally just gunned down his girlfriend and had gotten out of his car in front of them.
Yeah. But luckily he also gets over the death of his girlfriend seemingly instantly. Because, these are boomers. They grin and bear it, or they grunt and bear it, rather.
Well, as we find out later, not to get ahead of ourselves, like he's sort of used to this. He's faced death in his life before.
Absolutely.
He's a gritty boomer. So, yes.
Yeah. So, the big MacGuffin of the film is they find this tape of a conversation between the senator and the Stallion's owner.
Hello?
Hey, Calvin. Shelly Marcone.
That's Marcone.
How you doing this evening?
I'd prefer you didn't use my name.
Man's a trifle skittish. Calvin, if I didn't know you better, I'd think you were contemplating something shady.
Well, there's no
get
law
to the good
against
stuff.
contemplation.
Not unless you pass
Fast
one,
forward.
old
Mm-hmm.
You know, who weirdly both have this like southern twang going on, even though it's like set in LA.
Yeah. Like the Shelley Marcone character even wears a cowboy hat. Like that's
You
his
know,
deal.
like he reads as like he is Jerry Jones, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
right? Like or like maybe like I don't know. Yeah, no, he's basically like a Jerry Jones type figure. And then like the senator also, yeah, is just kind of like a I mean, he's like the senator from every movie you've ever seen. Like he's like just the senator. And also I always love movies where like the senator is the big political guy, because it's always within the universe of the movie, like that senator is somehow like disproportionately powerful, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like, God, I wish Bernie Sanders was as powerful as Calvin Baynard is. You know, who knows what could be done. But I guess like the essentially the deal with the conspiracy is like Baynard is in charge of this like investigation into gambling and sports. Yeah, but it's like basically this conspiracy to legalize sports gambling, which would never happen.
No.
Anyway, who's our sponsor for this week, Ethan?
Our sponsor for this week is sportsbets.com.
I knew when I threw that joke to you that you wouldn't know a name of a real one, which is good because we don't want to get sued.
Hold up.
Much like this movie.
Sportsbets.com.
Don't go to that website.
It is an actual website.
Wait,
the title says, bet into the action. You must do your homework and bet selectively. Winning 60 to 65% of your sports bets is a realistic target. I like how they're trying to give them a smooth landing to losing all of their children's college funds. This is incredible.
I think you should send all your money to that website immediately.
Win at sports bets. Winning sports bets is all about, what do you think, Devin?
Winning.
Skill. The challenge is to gather and analyze as much information as you can about a game, weigh the probabilities of each team winning, and subsequently compare your opinion to the odds makers.
Oh, man. You know how, like, have you ever, like, read the Wikipedia page for a very basic concept like water or, like, human beings or something, and it's really defamiliarizing because it's like water is a liquid substance that like that's how I feel like this explanation of like how gambling works is like, oh, I'm so glad you've told me that I'm supposed to weigh the probabilities unlike the other gambling sites.
It has a whole description of what point spreads are. Oh, the amount of people that must have thrown away all of their money on this website that is mostly like HTML and text based is just astounding.
Yeah. But like one of the like the thesis of this is basically like the idea is rather like the NFL, the fictional NFL is losing money because there are no heroes left. People don't like how all the players are black, I think is basically the subtext of that. And like, you know, they're like Jimmy, they're too stylish. They have $650 pants. Where's Johnny Unitas or whatever? And also like there's a scene where like just like a guy is driving by Jimmy and he's like, free agents ruined the game. It's like, you know, oh, the game used to be pure when like the evil owners could just draft you and control your rights forever. So like, I actually really like this about the film because it has kind of this pro-labor message of like the evil people are like the owners and like the society that sees the advancing like kind of labor status of the players as this thing that ruins the game, right? Yeah. And then like, you know, it is like it took a while, but obviously like sports gambling is rampantly legal now, and the NFL, which not that long ago would have acted like, oh my God, what are you talking about? We would never do that. Now it's like, you know, promoting that shit constantly, right?
Yeah. And now we're on to college sports betting.
Oh, of course. And it's because, right, it's like since the late 70s, right, and this movie comes out in 91, you know, capital has hit this wall of like productivity growth that it still has not recovered from. And it is constantly seeking And so you could look at like sports gambling, you can look at NFTs, you can look at like, finance in general, right? The speculative economy is all a way of like looking for some kind of way of producing growth when you can't actually do it in the way that we did for, the 100 years previous.
So I'm going to pause this for after we finish the synopsis of the story, but keep in mind what you've said about the nature of the NFL and pro sports, and I guess just call this any sports this day and time.
Go Birds, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think we'll chat a bit more about this, but I want to preface by saying, like, I have something that's going to throw a big old boomer wrench in what you are saying, which I think is a very interesting part of this film, but I think there's a big caveat in the entire grand scheme of things with this film that I do want to dig into. But let's take a quick break, and then let's wrap up this plot and I think dig a bit more into that.
Sounds good.
All right, so Devin, I think we've got a bit more plot to run through here, but we perhaps disagree somewhat in that I found the entire middle of this film to be pointless and boring. I think maybe you need it to make the ending pay off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but the ending to me is what makes this film come together. But I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I like it, and like I said earlier, like I do think it's doing like a pretty good job of just sort of like just at a 101 screenwriting level, like doing the plot, and getting the like, here's why this guy has to be here, and here's why, that kind of stuff. But it's really all about just kind of getting through that so you can have the big action scene at the end.
Yeah, and to me, my interpretation of the middle of this film is like, let's go, every character in this film, like, let's make it a lived world. They probably have domiciles where they live. Let's go to every one of their houses. And we're going to have plot happening at each of these houses, but like, let's just make sure we go to every character's house. Even the characters who have been murdered, let's go to their houses as well. And so that to me was like the entire middle of this film was like, they're going from house to house to house. The cars, like sometimes there are car bombs after each house, but like sometimes not. But that was like the whole middle of the film.
Yeah.
So where did Corey live?
Harper Apartments on Melrose. Why?
Thinking about going by there and take a look around.
Oh, good. I'll come with you.
Fuck you all. Have a nice night, Junior. Start tomorrow. In the meantime, I'd like to go home and see my family.
Wow. An actual house. I was thinking a cave with skulls and shit.
Well, it's like, you compare it to like the like Daniel Craig, like the post Casino Royale James Bond ones. Like especially like Skyfall and like that kind of era of him. That's also just him constantly going from place to place. But the reason he has to go is that, like, for some completely off-screen reason, intelligence tells him, like, the guy you're looking for was spotted in Croatia. And then there's just a cut to, like, he somehow knows to go to this one, like, ramshackle shack in, like, Croatia that, like, has no, like, there's no digital technology for 300 miles.
You're joking about that, but, like, if you heard that some crime lord was chilling in Romania, you'd go to the Andrew Tate compound. Like, that's where you would go.
Yeah.
You're joking, but, like, it's sort of tracks that they would have, like, a good idea. Yeah.
But the same way that this film kind of navigates that sort of, how do we get the characters to go to the various places we need? It's just like, oh, they're just going to, like, they don't have clues. They're just like, oh, let's go to the guy's house.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen there, right? So they're going from house to house. Stuff happens. Cars explode. there's like, they do some like cool tricks at various points, to, like get hitmen to kill themselves by like shooting C4 or whatever.
James Gandolfini shows up.
Yeah. As I don't remember, but as you do. They end up at Joe's house at one point. There's like a big emotional scene where like Joe walks in on Jimmy doing drugs in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And Joe is really mad, kicks him out. And this is when Joe's daughter, Darian, who has like a weird puppet that she speaks through, which is going to come in later, reveals to Jimmy.
It's your dying memories as a boomer, this like the death throes where you're having this dreamlike state, and so of course you're gonna be like dreaming about your daughter and her weird shit that like she's got weird shit, and I can't connect with her, but it's sort of her fault
your daughter
that I can't connect with her.
Yeah, your daughter who is about to become the bassist for Beat Happening. That you can't relate to. But the big thing here is that she reveals to Jimmy that Joe's favorite player was Jimmy.
Yeah.
And so this is where like we're getting the like, oh, Joe's actually like a really great, like he actually really loves the flashy black quarterback. He's not like the racist boomer who shouts about how free agents ruin the game.
Yeah.
But then when Jimmy gets banned for gambling, Joe never watched another game, which is the thing that every boomer would like to think they would do. And then they would watch, like, they wouldn't even skip one game. They would say they were going to skip a game until Saturday. And then they would be like, well, like he was like a bad apple.
But
here's where we get the title drop where like she asks Jimmy to sign her like football card. And he signs it to the daughter of the last Boy Scout, right? And this is the ultimate. This is the boomer fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like the greatest generation fantasy is just being a Boy Scout. Like you're just like you did your good thing or whatever.
Well, I think every boomer, and again, people with boomer mentalities, they imagine themselves as Boy Scouts. Like I could walk around being like, yeah, I'm a Boy Scout because I was a fucking Weebelo. Like, I wasn't a fucking Eagle Scout, but I could, if I wanted to have that image, I could walk around doing that. I think that's what, like, that whole mentality is about, is you see yourself in that image.
Yeah, but it's not just about being a Boy Scout for the boomers. It's about being the last Boy Scout, right? They are the main characters of history, and nothing can happen after them.
They are the thin blue line that separates civilization from chaos.
Yeah. So anyway, meanwhile, the police have deduced that Mike was having an affair with Joe's wife. So they're like, oh, Joe was behind this. We meet Milo, who's the like queer-coded kind of like slippery psychopathic assassin guy that works for Shelley, and is like the main villain in the sense of like the guy that people actually fight. Shelley's really the main villain in terms of like masterminding this.
He does the dirty work.
And so like
he literally has a line that is, I am the bad guy.
Can we do a formal introduction here?
Who gives a fuck? You're the bad guy, right?
I am the bad guy.
And I'm supposed to be trembling with fear, something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. And so like they eventually get they all both end up kind of like in the clutches of Milo. We start to get the full details of the plan, which was like to kind of buy votes to legalize sports gambling.
Yeah, and I think there's this scene where Shelley, like, Joe has been captured by Shelley's henchmen. Shelley shows up, swims across his swimming pool where Joe is being held hostage. It's like, yeah, I want to legalize gambling. And this is like perfect early 90s film because there's this recognition where he's like, yeah, I've bought every senator, of course. But this one senator, Senator Baynard, he is not going along with it, not because he's not corrupt, but because he wants even more money. And so I'm just going to kill him instead of, and this is where the movie takes this, has this exponential growth of the stakes at play, because all of a sudden it's like, so what I've decided to do is I'm going to murder the senator. I'm going to frame it on you because you have all this shit on record about being pissed off at this senator because you got fired for stopping him from sexually assaulting a sex worker. And the way I'm going to do this is like with an assassination in a very public venue, and there's going to be bombs involved. It goes really
this movie
hard
goes hard.
The last act. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So and the way they do this is they basically so the senator is blackmailing Shelley for $6 million, and they basically have this like little like lazy Susan inside their car with like two briefcases. So like the money briefcase, like they open it to see the money's in there, and then somebody presses a button and they switch, and now it's like a bomb. Yeah. And then like the villains are like at gunpoint forcing Joe to
do the
give the handoff. So now these photos are being taken of him passing a suitcase that is eventually going to blow up inside this LA sports stadium and kill this senator.
And again, because it's a boomer fantasy, they tell him that this is what they are doing, just so that like he understands how he's being set up.
The briefcase was loaded with explosives, wasn't it?
10 pounds of C4 is on the way to the Coliseum right now. It's ironic, don't you think? That this bomb's going to be delivered to Baynard by his own personal bodyguards. After his death, the police will receive a photograph of you, Joseph, handing over the briefcase, and blame you for the crime.
Because it's important. Yeah, because if he somehow miraculously survived, then he conveniently has all the information to stop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But blah, blah, blah. Like, they're going to kill him. He escapes because his daughter shows up with her weird puppet. And then, like, this is another thing. This happens multiple times in the movie. But, like, guys are about to kill Bruce Willis. And then he just starts doing, like, really bad Tim Allen style stand-up. And, like, dudes just lose their shit. They start laughing so hard. And, so he's doing, like, a routine with the puppet, which the daughter has put a gun inside. Because for some reason they're like, let him do a puppet routine. And then he like shoots them all. He escapes. But Milo
he really
survives.
Put his daughter's life at risk by deciding to try and have a shoot it out with the henchman with his daughter right there. Anyway, it doesn't matter because it's a boomer
this
fantasy,
man loves shooting guns around his family. But that's the thing. Because it's a boomer fantasy, the bullets will only go where he wants them to go.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about repercussions of like you're actually putting a lot of innocent people in danger. It's like, well, no, he's actually protecting his family by shooting the 8 henchmen that are in this vicinity.
Yeah, no one in his family ever gets shot. The only good guy that actually gets shot is Jimmy.
Yeah,
where he gets shot in the hand by
we'll get
Shelley.
there. Let's get to that point. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so a bunch of people die. Milo survives. He ends up like abducting Darian at some point. Everyone's like heading to the stadium.
He stops the bomb from getting to the stadium. So I guess Milo is like, well, I guess I'll just shoot the senator now.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And now it becomes like, it's like he's climbing the rafters, Milo, with like a gun, and he's going to shoot him. And then like, there's multiple things happening at once. Like there's a lot of like cutting, but like Joe is like climbing up the rafters to confront Milo while
and just again, just to make sure the scene has been set for folks who have not recently seen this film. There's a football game happening.
Oh yeah, of course.
The Coliseum in LA between the Stallions and I don't even know who the other team is.
I don't know if they even named the team this time.
I don't think they do. But so that's where all this is going down. And so there's a lot of interactions happening with like, there is a game happening at this time, and the senator is watching the game.
Yeah, he's in a box seat. Yeah.
And
another thing that happens is like, so we have previously at one point in the dialogue between Jimmy and Joe, we have established that Jimmy knows how to ride horses. and I guess there's like horses at the game because they're the stallions. So like he jumps on a horse and he's kind of like, riding the horse across the field in the middle of the game to create a distraction.
So this is the climax, and I'll proceed this by saying that like before this, they had been captured by Shelley and his henchmen, and they're like, "We're gonna murder all of you," but then like that doesn't work out because they're like the boomer protagonists, so they get away. But he does, like you mentioned, shoot Jimmy in his $1 million hand. And they don't ever address this, but I guess the insinuation is that like his other hand is just as good.
Oh, I thought he was just still. Is he throwing with the offhand? I thought he was just still throwing with the bandaged.
Oh, okay. Well, then why was he shot in the hand, man? I don't like. Why was?
I think the idea is like that he's just with this because it's boomer. It's like it's boomer thing where he had one more throw in him. Like even though his hand has been shot, he's bandaged it up, and he's like, for one more perfect throw, I can do. I'm never gonna be an NFL player. I couldn't do 50 passes a game, again. But
by the way, this is so not important to anything. But the Shelley character, when he actually takes off his cowboy hat, has the most like John Tester-esque haircut that I've ever seen. Like he looks just like you're Googling who John Tester is?
No, I remember who John Tester is.
But look at the haircut. Look at the haircut.
I just want to look at the,
it is point for point. And so the entire time this is happening, I'm like, oh, that's John Tester. Because the dude looks like John Tester, has the same haircut.
John Tester is senator again?
Yeah.
He's still in the, man, I assumed he had lost it at some point. Right. Can I just summarize the rest of the movie in 3 sentences?
Do it.
And then we'll take a break.
Yeah.
Okay. Jimmy throws a football at the senator and hits him in the head on horseback so that he doesn't get hit by the first bullet.
Yeah. Joe
stops Milo so that he doesn't get hit by any further bullets.
Yeah.
Joe does say he's going to kill Milo, but Milo technically gets killed by SWAT team fire. But, he gets credit for the assist.
Yeah.
And then again, this movie has to keep going extra. He falls into the moving blades of a helicopter and just turns into pure blood.
Yeah.
The money's recovered. Turns out that Shelley accidentally took the bomb and blows himself up, which rules again. And then Joe and his wife make up because he as he tells us at some point in this movie, his big flaw is that he loves his wife. And then Joe and Jimmy are friends forever.
He gets out of being shot by the LAPD by dancing. I'll just throw that extra line.
That's right.
Like 8 sentences, so it doesn't matter that adding extra.
It was a run-on. It was a run-on sentence.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, that's the movie. We'll be right back.
Flawless. Wow, Devin. What a plot summary. What a plot summary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So plot summary actually sort of, getting into the boomer mindset, kind of stupid. I think what we need to do is what I have self-described. Well, let me take a step back. I created a segment for our second season of this show called Vox Populi. And you know what happened, Devin?
Yes. No.
Okay. After I did that, a very famous person Googled Vox Populi or like Googled voice of the people or something.
Yeah.
That person being
the guy from Glass Onion.
Yes, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And so
horrible movie, by the way. But
yes. But now I feel like there's this it's annoying because Elon Musk has decided that Vox Populi is like his phrase.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So do we have to rename this segment? Is that the question? Right.
I don't think we need to, because first off, it's not like we invented the Latin phrase Vox Populi.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like, in these days, Latin shit is always going to have a little bit of a fascist vibe, you know?
Sure.
So, like, I'm just going to put it out to the listeners. Send us your ideas for, like, if there's any more explicitly Marxists or revolutionary names, we could give our game that is purely superstructural and does nothing to affect reality. You know, we'd appreciate it. But for now, it's Vox Populi.
Yeah, I think maybe we're going to rebrand it as the Volkish movement. Anyways, this is what we call Vox Populi. So, Devin, Vox Populi, which is a segment that I make up episode by episode. Do you want to hear the rules? It's sort of like, I know every weekend, Devin, you probably watch Wait, Don't Tell Me. And by watch, I mean listen on NPR.
Yeah, in between taking my micro doses of cyanide. Yeah.
I've sort of moved on to macro doses after each episode. But I've got a scenario that I think will be familiar to our NPR listeners, which is what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you as many as possible titles for reviews about The Last Boy Scout from IMDb. And some of these are from like in the 90s, which surprised me. Like, oh, people made reviews about this shit on IMDb.
Internet adopters, yeah.
I know. So keep that in mind. But I'm going to give you those titles, and you...
Imagine sitting through the whole, like, dial-up connection thing, like the... just so you can leave, like, a sexist review of The Last Boy Scout. Your family is downstairs, like your wife has like finished a pot roast and you're just like, no, honey, not right now. I got to review The Last Boy Scout online. What's online?
But the first game we're going to play is I'm going to list off titles of reviews about The Last Boy Scout. And I'm going to see, can you respond to each of these with a quip or a one-liner as if you are the Joe character, the Bruce Willis character from this film? Because we maybe haven't made this as explicitly clear, but this entire film is made up of quips and one-liners in the buddy cop genre.
When you're giving a plot summary of it, that gets lost. But the form of this movie is one. So everything we said that happens, the modality through which it happens is one-liners.
Yes.
And for listener context, I have tried to get into character. And at this point in the pod, I have drank 32 ounces of Miller High Life.
Yeah.
And a nice little large shot glass of bourbon.
Yeah. And I am stone cold sober. So let's get into it.
This is going to be so pathetic.
I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock. The clock of my
like very long.
You think, but I'm not too worried.
All right.
So I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock, and you're going to see how many responses or one-liners you can come up with. I think if your response is really bad, I'm going to say no, try again.
Okay, clarify for rules.
Yeah.
Do these need to be in the style? These are Bruce Willis style. I'm going for like
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
I think what will help you is put yourself in the mindset as I was in of someone who thinks this movie sucks. And so all of these people that gave this I think I'm looking at all of them. The lowest is a 6 out of 10. A lot of them are 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10s. So you're going to respond to these as if like they're actually really shitty review titles. So I think if you have that perspective, even though I know, Devin, you like this film more than I do, because you're Italian X American.
Italian X American.
Yeah. I'm going to put a minute on the clock. So here are the IMDb reviews. I went from like the ones that people found most helpful to slightly less helpful. And I tried to rearrange them so it wasn't the same thing over and over, but you get the idea. Okay, Devin. Are you in the boomer mindset?
Absolutely. I'm like just thinking about how fucking mad I am at the guy that keeps like parking in the used driveway and he's like a little too far to the right.
Fuck that guy.
That's not cool, man. That's not cool, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to the Wawa.
Yeah.
And I can't get out of here.
You're in the zone.
It's not cool.
Here are the titles. You have 1 minute on the clock, and I might just decide to make it a minute and a half. I don't know. Let's see how many of these you get. Here's the goal. How many can you get in a minute or whenever I decide to stop? And starting the clock now. Absolutely everything it was intended to be. Testosterone-powered mayhem.
Yeah, maybe you're intended to get your fucking ass ripped.
Nice. Okay, number 2. I'll accept that. A genre classic, oft copied, never matched.
Yeah, I matched with your wife last night.
I'm so grateful that you started talking about wives. I'll give you an extra 10 seconds on the clock. Next one. Die Hard with hard-hitting football and cheerleaders.
Yeah, I know somebody's not hard here.
Bruce Willis is on fire in this great old-school action comedy.
Who you calling old, fucking you piece of shit? Get off my fucking lawn. Ah!
Beautiful. They don't make action movies like this anymore.
They don't make fucking fuckheads like you anymore.
It's violent, it's vulgar, ... but I like it.
Yeah, I don't like you.
Okay, you should have said something about their wives, but that's okay. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Terrific urban shoot 'em up with Willis and Wayans.
Listen, Jimmy Dix was my favorite quarterback, and you were my least favorite reviewer. Get the fuck out of here.
Beautiful. Okay. Over the top greatness.
Yeah, over the top suckness from you, pal. Get out of here.
I'll see your lethal weapon and raise you a Die Hard.
I'll see you in hell.
Should have been a franchise. Last one.
Yeah, here's the franchise. I'm an asshole 1. I'm an asshole 2. I'm an asshole 3.
Sure.
Fuck you. Get off my lawn. I want to die. I don't want there to be a world after me. My dog is barking.
So, Devin, you got 9 correct responses in what ended up being about 2 minutes. Not too bad.
Yeah, I think I did like the classic boomer job, which is that I took longer than I said I would.
Yeah.
I didn't actually do a very good job, but the standards were low.
Yep.
And I passed with flying colors. And now I'm going to spend the rest of my life as the standards go up for this game, asking younger people, why don't you just go on Vox Populi and win with 9 answers? Like, that's what I did when I was younger.
Well, unfortunately, you did lose to Mo Rocca, who had 32 correct responses to IMDb titles. But you did score a very strong 3rd place out of 3 respondents, and we'd like to thank everybody for playing.
Wait, who got second? Was it Bruce Valanche or like Mike Birbiglia. Like
You did lose out to both Mo Rocca and Henry Kissinger, but you were a very close third place. And we thank you for your participation.
All right. So I would like to request an official recount, and I hope you'll consider this. Did the judges in the first round of tabulation properly factor in that, in the spirit of The Last Boy Scout, the one-liners were not supposed to be funny? Like, how many non-funny...
Dropped to fourth place behind Condoleezza Rice. But we like to thank you for your participation in this segment on Wait, Don't Tell Me. Audience, laugh. So, Devin.
Yes.
The Last Cowboy. You like this film.
Love it.
I don't. I think I did leave a note, though, that the ending climactic scene kind of made it all worth it, even though, like, 4/5 of the movie is terrible. That ending scene is great, and the beginning scene is great. But you like this film a lot more than I do.
Yes.
Why?
Here's the thing. It is it goes so fucking hard, as I've said throughout. It always goes extra, right?
Yeah.
People are being burned alive. People aren't just being shot, they're being burned alive, right? People are being blenderized by helicopters, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, it also has this fundamental message to me that the real fucking criminals are the owners of the NFL. And that I love a lot.
Interesting. Can I, unlike what would happen with the Boomer, can I destroy your perspective about this film property?
You can, but I have a feeling you're about to do just some like intentional fallacy shit, but go ahead.
So I think here's what I will focus in on. I think you talk a lot about how it portrays the NFL or like pro football as exploitative, as a, like, I don't know, positive, or, you know, just like a meaningful message. That's a meaningful
and also
message
just like
of
that,
this film.
and that the owners deserve to die.
Sure.
And do.
Yeah. I think there's a parallel plot of this film that you are willfully ignoring, that I think perhaps you would not be as big a fan of. And let me explain what I feel that secondary plot is. The secondary plot, as exemplified by the Joe character, Bruce Willis's character, it's this idea that actually pro football players and law enforcement officers have a lot in common, in that they are both being exploited by this system. The pro football players by the owners, and the Secret Service agents, the cops, so on. They're being exploited by the politicians, who are taking advantage of these really fundamentally just characters who are being like chewed up through this system and spit out. And so this, you know, who is a more central character than Jimmy Dix is the Joe Hallenbeck character, and he represents the good cop who has been spit out of the system because he stood up to the corruption of the system. He is the protagonist in the same way that Jimmy Dix is the protagonist from the football side of things. What are your thoughts?
What did he do that actually got him kicked out?
Joe Hallenbeck?
Yeah. What did he do that actually got him kicked out of the system?
He tried to stop the politician who was sexually abusing a sex worker.
He punched a senator in the face.
Yeah.
Is specifically what he did, right? He committed violence against the state.
Uh-huh.
Right? And so this is what the film is I don't think intentionally, mind you. I don't think Shane Black is sitting down there like, I'm going to take that. But like what the film in like because like here's the thing. The film is a sports movie grafted onto like a cop movie, right? It's this weird Frankenstein thing.
Yeah, which
so
is
obviously
say, yes.
Yeah, and so obviously like any movie that like, we could talk about Blade Runner. We could talk about all sorts of like movies that like the protagonists are cops, right? And there's a way to go down this line of like, oh, so then it's just propaganda or whatever. I'm not saying this movie's not propaganda in like kind of a crude sense, right? But what this film, if we analyze it not for like what its message is, but for what it's like revealing to us, kind of through its trying to kind of square all these things together, is it's showing us like in trying to make a cop movie about football, it has to make these decisions where it reveals that football itself is the crime, right? That is the ultimate crime. And so, and then the ultimate, the crime that cannot be countenanced by the system is working against the system, right? So what his backstory is kind of exposing is that it is actually impossible to work within the system, right, and defeat it, right? And ultimately, all the actual cops we see in this, right, because Joe, like, he stands up to the senator, he gets kicked out. He's not an official cop anymore. He's a private investigator, right?
Yeah.
And Jimmy is not a cop at all. He's a disgraced football player, right? These are people that have been rejected by the system, right? All the cops we actually see suck ass.
No.
No.
There is the predominant character that is a huge fan of the Joe character that is like, I just want to shake your hand. And
yeah,
like,
well, and then that guy gets blown away because he's naive, though. The movie's like, that guy is too naive to live in this world, right? So, like, you can't actually be a good cop because that guy tries to be a good cop and he gets blown away.
He's a hero.
Well, sure, the system will. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like obviously if the film was just like all cops,
ideal cop.
He's not the ideal cop because he dies. He gets fucked immediately. He never does anything significant. He's a fucking piece of shit. Like he's a do-goody that gets eaten up. Right. The thing you have
but
to be.
But that's what I'm saying. This film says in the same way that the NFL system eats up these football players. I'm just saying there's a parallel between the NFL and the police department in this film.
I actually think there is a structural critique in there in a certain sense of like what like law enforcement in some way does function by sort of offering a relatively stable employment status to a certain brand of like non-college educated kind of like working class American male, right? That then is put in a system where maybe they go into that system with good intentions, but within which it is impossible to do good, right? Which is why you can't actually be a cop. And Bruce Willis tries to do good as a Secret Service agent. He does the best thing you could do according to the system, which is save the president, right? But then he commits violence against the state in protecting someone who is outside the state in terms of the sex worker, and he is completely rejected by the system. So this is showing us that like the only thing that the state does in this sense, and then the NFL is kind of analogous to the state, right, is exploit these people, right? And so it's like, again, like, yeah, like I fucking hate cops. But again,
I think like my question to you is like,
it's a cop movie, and it's like if we're gonna read it as what it like, because honestly, like, we can also just do the thing where like, okay, we won't watch any movies that have like cop-esque figures as protagonists, but I think it is important that the protagonist of this film isn't a cop. He's a private investigator that has been expelled from the system, right? And there is something in there. Again, I'm not saying like this film's ideology in some way is kind of naive and boomer and is about like oh, like the guy who gets rejected by the system actually has this kind of preternatural ability to do these things, etc. But there's also a truth there being exposed. Again, not by intent, but because this film is exploring those contradictions, right? It's kind of revealing in some way that there is this kind of like labor, capital, state violence conglomeration happening that is producing these horrible results, right? And that ultimately the thing you need to do is kill the people at the top. The owners need to die, right? And that I think is much more powerful than like a moralistic critique of like an individual police officer.
Yeah.
To me.
So, yeah, again, you heard it here first. Devin believes there are good cops that are being held back by the system.
No, I believe cops have the potential, the theoretical potential to be turned against the system. I don't even really believe that. I just like am like I actually don't think that at all.
Hold up.
I just like think within the fantasy space of movies, right? We can use the cop trope figure to explore the kind of ambiguities of the confluence of the state and capital. Like that's all I'm trying to say.
So, Devin, I don't know about you, but something that really took me out of the world of this film is seeing violence in football. I was just so taken aback by that it was really off-putting to me. What were your thoughts on that in that opening scene?
Yeah, I mean, you're joking, but I think we have to, especially like watching this film in the context of the NFL playoffs and stuff, we need to talk about not just like, the recent DeMar Hamlin incident, right? Where like a player got really close to dying on the field.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally died on national television.
Yeah. Like this larger context of the NFL, right? Because like there's this way of looking at the DeMar Hamlin incident and being like, okay, that was like a freak accident, right? It's like this thing where like his heart gets hit at right the exact time and it stops, and like, oh, and the fact that he's okay is like great. But that reading treats it again as like it's just like football is this neutral field on which just like shit happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And there's a long history of violence in football, obviously, right? And people dying on the field, which they have died before. People have been paralyzed on the field, right?
Yeah.
People have had life-altering injuries on the field constantly, right? There's huge issues with player suicide, right? Usually not on the field, but it wasn't that long ago that a Chiefs player, or maybe he was a former Chiefs player, killed himself like at the practice facility. There are lots of players who have killed themselves after they retired due to struggling with CTE, right?
Yeah.
And,
yep.
There's a way to look at what a film like The Last Boy Scout is doing as being like, oh, what? Like, this is such an exaggeration. This is a comic book version of this. You should just be depicting, like, in a realist sense, like the everyday violences that that players experience. But I think there's a way in which, like, what this film is, like, the aesthetics of this film are, like, maximalism, right? And essentially what that opening scene is doing is sort of, like, in a sensationalist, maximalist way, kind of, like, indexing what happens on a football field, like, every day, right? And, like, and then it enters into the film in this longer way through, like, Jimmy and his drug addiction and, the way that, like, he points out how, like, the importance of the injury report to the NFL, which has to do with gambling, right? It's so people know like a quarterback isn't playing and they can set the spread correctly and stuff like that. And we don't need to like pontificate about this too much or anything. I just think like it's important to like to think about the fact that like even at this film, at possibly its most sensationalist moment, is also possibly its most realist moment.
Yes. But I think that is certainly a theme of this film about how it exploits the physical health of the players involved in order to extract a profit.
And to be clear, I'm not trying to like give this film roses for like taking some kind of bold ethical stance or something. But what I think this film is doing is I think by virtue of this film just trying to be like this sports cop Frankenstein movie, it necessarily has to imaginarily reconcile those things together in a way that ends up revealing the sort of like unstable and contradictory nature of, for example, like even just the idea of professional sports, right? And how that inherently relies upon the destruction of bodies and for profit.
Yeah, and so one thing that sat like kind of weird with me, I'm curious about your thoughts on this. You have this one cop character who is like,
I just wanted to shake your hand.
What?
Ben told me about what you did for the president. I respect that.
This like weird Jimmy Carter-esque president that they have in the film. That cop is the one who gets killed versus the like police chief who is kind of nonchalant about this. I feel like they could have gone a route in this film of that police chief also being a corrupt piece of shit, similar to how the NFL boss is a corrupt piece of shit. They didn't go that direction. Yeah, do you feel like that would have improved the film to have just gone that like half a step extra to be like, actually, the police forces are also corrupt? Or would that have completely made this film, would this film have made $30 million less if it had done that?
So here, I'm going to go full fucking like what you did with Avatar 2 to me on this one. Ooh. I think the film has a better critique because the police chief isn't corrupt. Because if the police chief is corrupt, it just becomes about, oh, there are these individuals who are bad, right? This film is like, it doesn't matter
like
if
the
anyone's
rotten
bad.
apple.
It's just like, it's just like, no, like the cops suck. They show up like after everything happens in this movie. They literally don't do anything. Like a cop, there was not a single plot element of this film that has to do with a cop. The only thing the cops do is that after Bruce Willis has essentially killed Milo, the cops officially kill Milo. That is, and then they clean up the bodies. That is all they do.
I'll give one side, and I think this does not distract from your overall point. The response time of the LAPD in this film, like after shots have been fired, like 30 cop cars show up within like 5 minutes of that. And that is probably what took me out of the element more than anything else in this film. The idea that the cops are not going to show up 3 hours later. They're not going to just like murder some neighbor's dog. Like that to me.
Well, listen, we got to get people to their cars. Like this film would have to be like Satan Tango. You know,
well, from a plot element, it makes sense.
Like,
they're like, oh yeah, let's like just move the plot along. Oh, the cops show up, moving along. Yeah. But it was dumb in the, external
I want to see the Bellatar edit of this film that is exactly the same, except then there are these like 3-hour montages of just like scenic shots of like the city and like smoke and the sky and like close-ups of people's faces for 5 minutes at a time, and then the cops show up, and then we go back to the super kinetic pace of the film until another incident happens where the cops need to show up, and there's another 3 hours of like it's like a nice like 15-hour cut of The Last Boy Scout. That I would like to see.
Yeah.
I think like the final point I want to make with this film is just like we've already talked a lot about this film as this boomer fantasy and like how it's exploring like boomer irrelevance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to reflect a little on our episode on Avatar, where we also talked about Top Gun Maverick. Our episode on Avatar: The Way of Water, where we also talked about Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
And we
I'll say, like, it's an interesting thing about this film that our last episode we were talking about Top Gun, which, you know, it was directed by Tony Scott, who also directed the original Top Gun. The screenplay was by Shane Black, who starred in Predator, our first film that we talked about. So there's a lot of connections that this film has to the wider whatever the abbreviation of "You're tall, but I'm standing in front of you," that universe. Like it ties in here a lot.
Every once in a while, someone will tweet at us or the show account using the abbreviation of our own name, and I'm always like, "What the fuck is that?
What are you doing? Why
you know,
are you
what
doing
new
this?
what new yogurt frozen yogurt establishment did you found?"
Yeah. I mean, there's only so many characters you have on Twitter until they expand it to like 24,000 characters. So, but yeah, I get it. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
But, you know, yeah, the thing that's interesting to me is like our reading of Top Gun Maverick, and especially I think you were really bringing this out, where like this bit about like, it's about how like just like the boomer is like, it's actually like the film, like Top Gun Maverick, like promises to be about the next generation. And then it's actually just like, wait, rewind. No, we were wrong. Just boomers again. Just boomers just solve everything.
Yeah.
Like, this is basically doing the same thing. It's just about how like irrelevant boomers are actually still the most important people. And this film is from 1991, right? Fucking more than 30 years ago. And they've just like been making the same movie for 30 years because they cannot accept the fact that they're gonna die.
Yeah. Like, and it's incredible in that even in 1991, you have this piece of Bruce Willis playing essentially an aging character who, in all intents and purposes, is burnt up, has been like spit through the system, but is like still able to save the day. And the fact that like that is the exact same character that is the protagonist in these boomer-centric films 30 years later is just wild to me. Like it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
He is 36 in this movie. He's 36, and you would think the way the movie talks about him, you would think he's fucking 55.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, but it's just this idea where like the boomers just like their particular generation, somewhat by historical coincidence, we could get into some of the reasons this happened, but like their development just exactly corresponded more or less with like a certain phase of capital accumulation.
Yeah.
And then like the Berlin Wall falls in 1991. The Last Boy Scout comes out, and now it's like the only thing we can do for the rest of our lives, even though we're only 36 or like maybe 45, if you're my dad, right, is talk about how like we're ruined we are or whatever, how we're decaying, but we're still actually the best.
Yeah, and to me, the biggest difference between The Last Boy Scout and Top Gun Maverick is The Last Boy Scout is a critique of boomers against Gen X, like the Damon Wayans of the world, of like, these people are supplanting our place, but they also suck ass, and we're just trying to be the last Boy Scouts. Versus Top Gun Maverick, which is the same fucking message, but against millennials and even more so perhaps Gen Z, of like, these people who are trying to take our place also sort of suck, and we are the only competent individuals in the room. And so it is the same film, but I think the major difference is The Last Boy Scout is a critique on, I guess, Gen X, right? Because it's 1991, versus Top Gun Maverick, which is a critique on millennials and especially Gen Z. Yeah.
Like the daughter is like very Gen X, you know, disaffected, you know. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like the boomers, they will swallow up all the other generations. And it's like Gen X got to be protagonists of movies like in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, they got to have their high fidelities and shit. And now it's just like, nope, done, sorry. Now we're just gonna keep making boomer movies And now we're making millennial movies. But then once the Zoomers overtake us, there's going to just be boomer Zoomer movies.
I'm curious about this. The boomers are all going to die. Once they all are dead, what is the film like? What do you think? Like, is there going to be like the Gen X film that is like, we're actually the best?
Nope.
Like, what? How do you
Gen X
how
is
do you
done.
move forward from that boomer trope? So again, I'm putting you in the place of a Hollywood executive. Like, what is the future of Hollywood? Like, what is the Top Gun Maverick 10 years from now when Tom Cruise
not gonna be anything.
died when the SpaceX shuttle blew up on
Tom Cruise?
Like, what is going to be? What's going to be the next iteration of that? How do you deal with that?
There is no next generation. There is no after this. Tom Cruise is the last movie star.
So Devin Fukuyama, you're sort of saying like this is sort of like the end of cinema.
Cinema's
the end
over.
Of history.
Cinema's
cinema
over.
history. Yeah.
Tom Cruise is the last movie star.
Yeah.
Like, once he dies, once the boomers die, man, because think about it. Top Gun Maverick is an exceptional film, right? Not in the sense of being good, but in terms of literally, it's exceptional to, like, it's different from Ant-Man 4 or whatever. Every time people are like, oh, this like cinema is back. It's like how like Rolling Stone used to always think rock music was back. It's over. It's just like there's occasionally a little fad where like people like the Strokes for 6 months, right? It's the same thing. It's like, yeah, no, there'll be these little resurgences. There'll always be like every once in a while they will let a director make like what seems like a real movie by comparison. But dude, it's like, think about the last time we went to see Avatar. What were the fucking trailers we saw? You know? It's just franchises, man. It's just Marvel. It's all that shit. It's streaming. And it's like, that is the new modality, right? Yeah. No one is going to be the next Tom Cruise. Like, he can't exist anymore. It's like, think about how, like, in the early stages of Marvel, it was really important to have some big name stars to get it off the ground, like Downey Jr. And like, now it's like, I don't even know who any of these people are. You know who they are because they're just like the guy that plays the guy in the Marvel, and that's just going to be it. And then unless like at some point something changes, but the change is not going to be aesthetic. It's not going to be about people having better ideas. It's that the conditions of production have to change, right? But this is the tendency of capitalism. So it's like, if you want better movies, fucking punch a senator or better, him.
Yeah, no, but it's true that like you think Jonathan Majors is going to be the next Tom Cruise because he's like the big
I have no
bad.
idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, see, you don't even fucking know. You're Googling right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because he's Kang the Conqueror, right? That's
that's the thing. Like, he's subservient to, in this case, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so it doesn't matter.
We don't want to have to pay. We don't want to be tied into giving Robert Downey Jr. these gigantic contracts in the future.
Yeah, they don't need to.
We want people that are completely replaceable, kind of like the NFL.
Hey, that's the film we just watched. Hey,
yeah. Like there aren't fucking star running backs anymore. I mean, quarterback, a little different, but there aren't star running backs anymore, right? It's like you get a guy in the third round, you use him for his rookie contract when he's cheap, and then after you've destroyed his knees, you let him sign somewhere else for way less money than he would have signed 30 years ago. Well, inflation, etc. But you know what I mean? Like, and then like he'll be out of the league in 5 years, and probably doesn't have enough money to survive the life of having a much less functioning body and mind.
But it's the same way that like they are going to fucking chew up and spit out Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror in the MCU. They'll take legacy actors like Christian Bale and be like, yeah, you are now a part of the MCU briefly, and then you're fucked. Like, what are you gonna do? There's no work that exists for you outside of this, this apparatus. It's not like just MCU, but like this apparatus we have designed. So
that's the thing, because it's not just about the MCU, right? It's about like, because what's the alternative to the MCU? Seeing fucking Black Adam, seeing like Ghostbusters 4, your dad's dead, or whatever the fuck, sanctimonious Ghostbusters. Like, it's just like, we are going to run every fucking IP through a marshmallow machine
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do? Go be in a real movie? Good luck. Like Paul Thomas Anderson has never made money at the box office, as far as I know, right? Like I love him, right? But like he has to be, he's part of the system too, right? Because he has to be exceptional, right? It's like they only let him do that shit so they could be like, oh yeah, we made this movie, we're respectable.
Yeah. So Devin, in the interest of talking for fewer minutes than the film we're talking about lasts, if you were to rate this in terms of Walton Goggins, and I'm going to be clear, I'll give one more episode for Walton Goggins because we've already worked out the details of our next episode. I think he's reached his capacity in terms of being able to be used as a tool for our podcast.
Yeah, no, we got to come up. So tweet at us with who you want to be third in the lineage of You're Tall, but I'm standing in front of you rating systems after Shia LaBeouf and after Walton Goggins. We need we're going to keep Walton for the next episode, but then when we start the second half of season 2, I think we're going to need a new representative.
Yeah. So what would you say, Devin, in terms of Walton Goggins? How would you rate The Last Cowboy?
Listen, I'm a football man.
Oh, God damn it.
God damn it. I love my Philadelphia Eagles. Right?
God damn it.
I love my Philadelphia Eagles being favored over the evil New York Giants, the worst named team in all of professional sports because it's literally stolen from a baseball team that no longer exists.
Yeah.
I love them being favored by 7.5 points over
Say
the
your
New
piece.
York Giants.
Say your piece.
Now, this episode is coming out most likely after this game has aired. And so I might be eating some serious crow. But I'm not interested in crow. I'm interested in the Eagles. And so I got to give this movie 7.5 fucking Walton Goggins, man. Go Birds. Go The Last Boy Scout. Like, if the worst movie I could see at the cinema in a given week was The Last Boy Scout, I would be very happy. What about you, Ethan?
If I had to give this a Walton Goggins, I'm going to give this, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be a Cowboys and Aliens Walton Goggins is what I'm going to give this film. Are you familiar with Cowboys and Aliens?
I know of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no one has probably seen this film, but I think where it may be, when people say like, "Oh, I know this film," and you ask like, "Oh, describe it," they're going to describe it as like, "Oh, that's that film with Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford." And so I think that this is a film that it has these boomer icons, and they are presented as these kind of almost infallible heroes. Like in terms of the plot, maybe not in terms of like they fuck shit up, but like, you know, like in terms of like if you're a boomer, like, oh, they make the mistakes that I would make as a boomer. I think Cowboys and Aliens is the perfect analogy for this sort of film. So yeah.
And with that, we are finally at the end of The Last Boy Scout. This is the way the world ends, not with a bang, but a one-liner. And thank you for listening to You're Tall, but I'm standing in front of you. Follow us on Twitter at YourTallPod. Email us, yourtallpod@gmail.com. Follow Ethan at Mathisipi. Follow me at Stale Cooper. And once again, check out Motherfuckers Line the Streets Play Wonderwall at stalecooper.bandcamp.com. And you can also hear me on hear some music I composed on the Chapo Hell on Earth series. So check that out too.
Humble brag. Hey, other than that though, Devin, ain't life a bitch?
I would never say that.
In the words of Devin Daniels,
I'm going to Disneyland.